Good evening, one and all. Welcome along. We made it just in time. Graham was sitting here with about 10 seconds to go, wondering where the rest of us were. We've made it.
It was me, actually. It was me.
And it is season 4, episode 53, and we are on to mock draft 1.0. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How's yourself?
I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too badly at all. Hey, we haven't seen you in a few weeks. How are things?
I just wish we weren't talking about the draft.
I know.
We were talking about other things, but
I know. Super Bowl weekend as well.
Yeah.
You know, teams started talking about the draft a hell of a lot quicker than we did. So hey ho. Yeah. I think the Bears started talking about it in October.
Yeah.
So, I was going to say the preseason. So the plan for tonight is, and Lauren will be joining us presently. He's just doing a couple of updates on his laptop. We're going to do a first round mock draft. Someone is going to take each fourth pick. So I think I can't remember what way it is. I think Graham, you're first up, are you, for the Bears?
I picked first with the Bears. And then
I think it's Lauren is second, Paul is third, and then I'll take every fourth pick.
That's right.
That's the way we're gonna do. Yeah. We're not gonna have any trades or anything like this, but we'll try and see how we get on. And
so before everybody starts panicking, it's Lauren that's picking for the Cowboys, so the pressure is off us tonight.
Yeah, Rich Jones is very afraid that I might get to make the pick for the Cowboys and who I might pick. So I put his mind at rest. Mike does normally fill in this slot. This is his show, but he's not. He's feeling a bit poorly, so I'm filling in for him this evening. So hopefully I don't bugger it up too much whilst I'm on a Thursday night. It's not my usual slot. I can't remember the last Thursday night I was on.
I know. Jeez.
But since Tuesday, I don't think we've had any major breaking news or anything like that. Obviously, Brian Schottenheimer was appointed over the weekend. What are your own thoughts on that, Graham? And the fact that Mike McCarthy is now going to be calling the plays.
I mean, I will always be a McCarthy supporter, but even I will admit that the seat is starting to warm a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think the Joneses are going to go down the route of being the Bengals, and that they're quite happy just to reach the playoffs. I mean, obviously under the Bengals in the past, where they've his name escapes me right now. I'm really trying to remember, but there was
Brown.
Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis, who took the Bengals to the playoffs and lost the wild card or the divisional round 8-9 years in a row. I don't think McCarthy's going to get that opportunity. I think they'll make moves if that starts to be the case. But we did get to the divisional round. Only 8 teams managed to do that, so that does put them in the top quarter of teams. Are you going to get somebody to replace them that's better? Probably not, because if you're better, you've got a job. Are you going to have the quarterback talent? Are you going to have the defense? Are you going to have the weapons around the quarterback? All individual pieces need put together. So if he's going to be on the hot seat, let's call it, at least he'll be calling the plays, and he'll be dying by his sword as opposed to somebody else's sword. Yeah. I will admit I don't know a great deal about Schottenheimer. I'll need to do a little bit of homework on that, but this is McCarthy's appointment. Kellen Moore wasn't. It worked very well, but not every week, and that was the problem. So if Schottenheimer can bring it every Sunday, then I'm all for it.
Just to kind of add on top of that, I think it's very bold for Mike McCarthy, and I got to show some appreciation for him, like the fact that he's willing to take more heat on his head for this as well, and also the fact that, when it comes to Scott Meyer, I think we can appreciate the fact that we're bringing in an offensive coordinator that's going to treat players like players and not like actual former teammates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Very true. So, whilst we're waiting on Lauren, give me your thoughts for Sunday's game. You know, how do you think it's going to go? Where is the winning and losing of this game going to be?
If Kansas can stop the run play option, it's pretty much up to Patrick Mahomes, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only really thing I can really see the Eagles do really damaging is that run play option. Really.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there will be a couple of chances where Philadelphia may have a big break, a big play type of thing, but primarily run the ball down the middle with Miles Sanders, etc. But they'll probably just rely too much on Jalen Hurts to kind of like bootleg it, depending if the pocket collapses, etc. And just run the play option. So if Kansas can neutralize that, Kansas all the way.
Yeah.
It's going to be, my prediction is it's going to be a shootout and it's going to be a quarterback-driven game. How is Patrick Mahomes, how is Travis Kelce can Hurts bring it one more time?
Let's hope not.
How will Jones play on the defense on the Chiefs' defensive line? Because if he can get himself in the backfield, he wants to be the highest paid pass rusher in the league. And if he turns in 3 sacks on Sunday, then get your checkbook out, because he will be the highest paid defensive end or defensive lineman. Yeah, it's going to be down to the quarterbacks, I think. If they can keep Hurts in the pocket and make him throw erratically, I think it's the Chiefs' game to lose. But from what I'm seeing, the Eagles are the favourites.
Yeah, just to remember as well, there's still questions regards to Jalen Hurts and his actual like pass accuracy. Not many people do talk about that. No. But remember, all last year, like Jalen Hurts was throwing balls left, right, and center. Like it was just like to empty space, and there was no one there, and he was getting picked off. But he's really cut that back and kind of relied more on his legs this year. And if you can force Jalen Hurts to make the big, more deep passes, then I think you're going to see a lot more Kansas have that. Sorry, let me rephrase it. It's going to be more in favor of Kansas. So, I think when it comes to that type of shootout, I think Mahomes will definitely have the upper hand. But I do agree, as much as I hate to admit this, but the Eagles are the favorites, unfortunately.
Yeah. And like I think you've both kind of been fair in your assessment, because
we try to be impartial to a certain degree.
But Jalen Hurts, as I say, he was 5-star quarterback coming out of school, went to Alabama, and the reason he left Alabama is because he couldn't get it done in the Natty, in the championship game against Georgia. They brought in a rookie in Tua Tagovailoa, and he won them the national championship because Georgia played a game which kept him in the pocket and made him have to pass.
Yeah.
So that for me is that's the absolute key for me, is making sure that Chris Jones keeps him in the pocket, that George Karlaftis makes sure the edge is set, that they can't run outside the tackles and make sure to win the game.
Yeah, especially if you're on the weak side of the ball. Like see if the wide receivers for the Eagles are more to the left, and the weak side is your keep that contained as much as you can. You don't want Hurts to kind of just play that second read on the weak side of that defensive end or the outside linebacker, whoever that may be, and just run up the ball up through the middle or out to the weak side. You don't want that.
It's the number 1 offense against the number 2 offense.
I agree. I think when was the last time we actually had both number 1 seeds playing against each other in the Super Bowl? It's been a couple of years at least.
It's been a while.
It's
think
been a
it's
while.
7-8 years ago. I
Been a
think it's the
while.
I
last
think
time.
so. Yeah. So, in that in that respect, it is nice to see. And as a like a casual NFL fan per se,
Yeah.
like you are seeing the top two teams from both conferences in the Super Bowl. It's not like there was a big major upset in the conferences or wild card or anything like that. It kind of fell suit to how the rankings of the playoffs kind of worked out. It's like, yeah, number 4 took out number 7, number 2 took out the only the biggest one was the big shocker was probably the Vikings in the NFC. That was probably the biggest upset. But other than that, it's
Aren't we all, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yes, Elizabeth. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, my dear. I feel your pain, and I believe we have a new viewer as well, Olivia. Hello.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, Paul. Take it away.
I got it. There we go.
Welcome along to Olivia for tonight's show.
Yeah, welcome.
What else has been happening? Sorry, I'm just going to pull up the comment here that Steve brought up in terms of Emmett's comments on the Pro Football Talk tonight. Running backs and play calling are very interesting. And Graham, we kind of went into a little bit of depth about this on Tuesday night. So, do you want to give us your own thoughts on what might happen at the running back position for the Dallas Cowboys? The talk is Zeke needs to take a significant pay cut. Yep. Tony Pollard might be franchise tagged. Give us your own feel for it.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the Super Bowl. There is no stud running back playing in the Super Bowl.
No.
The Chiefs have tried to address the situation. They've got first round picks in. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a first round pick. He wasn't he?
Pick, yeah.
But it was towards the end, and he may well have been their best player on the board. But there's no stud in there to my knowledge. They work it very well. By the looks of things, we're going to end up with Pollard on the tag, which it kind of goes back to the way we treated DeMarco Murray. And give us one more season, and then you can go and make your money somewhere else. He's not the big banger running back that's going to take a lot of heavy hits. So he may well have a longer, prolonged career than DeMarco Murray, but he's not a 3-down back.
No.
I don't want Tony Pollard in pass protection, as good as he is. I don't want him protecting Dak's blindside or picking up the blitz.
Preach.
So, I keep hearing it, and you guys have brought it up in the private chat that Zeke has talked about taking a pay cut. Still waiting on it, I have to add. This is the same Zeke Elliott that held out in his 4th year because he didn't want to sign the 5th-year option. He wanted his deal, and he got it because he knew how important he was.
He still is. My personal opinion.
He still is.
Yeah.
He still is. At the minute, if it goes through on the tag, the Cowboys will have roughly $25-26 million tied up at running back. Wow.
Yeah.
Which,
it's crazy to really even fathom that, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm with you on this. Like, I like Tony Pollard, but I don't think I'm very interested. I would still want to bring both of them back in. I don't want to draft a running back this year. The reason I say that, I'm really interested to see under what Mike McCarthy can do and Scott Meimer can do with this different type of offense. We might actually get the old Zeke back. It might be more favorable for him, and we might see Pollard play more as that backup running back, what he originally was. But I think it's really down to who the play calling complements a player a lot more than the other. Obviously, I keep mentioning the comparison difference between the Scott Linehan offense compared to Kellen Moore offense. You saw Zeke was more primarily utilized more effectively under Linehan, but under Kellen Moore, he was just basically used as a battering ram.
Yeah.
So it'd be very interesting to see what McCarthy has in store for this next season's offense, because I think, and I'm banking on this, I hope we do get to see the old Zeke that we did have for the first 4 years. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
It's murky. It's really, really murky. Like on Over the Cap, I've just brought up the top end and running backs. So the yearly averages are Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb. Now, to me, Zeke is the stick out because McCaffrey, Kamara, Cook, Henry, Chubb, they don't have somebody competing for snaps. But Zeke is getting just as much as them. McCaffrey, if McCaffrey is fit, McCaffrey is on the field. If Kamara is fit, he's on the field. Zeke Elliott is now a situational player.
And he's not designed for that.
He's not designed for it, and you're about to franchise his backup. It's cloudy. It's a cloudy situation.
It feels like a merry-go-round. Just watching what's going on. Like, as much as the front office have done good and bad things this year, like we did criticize the Amari Cooper trade, the thing we like, what's his name, Randy Gregory, and that. But as the season went on, we made some really good moves with Hankins and T.Y. Hilton, etc. Like, whereas this, when it comes to when it's actually off season, we do make some really questionable decisions. I'll be perfectly honest, and I really just hope it does not bite us in the butt in the long term. That's what I'm hoping for as well.
So Lebarsky is saying here, how many of these teams were competitive in the playoffs? The good teams have shifted from investing in wide receivers to running backs. Highest paid player, Christian McCaffrey, is a running back. He was on the 49ers. So
Dalvin Cook was in the playoffs.
Barkley, Zeke. But when you look at the other teams, well, you could put Joe Mixon in there for Cincinnati, I suppose, to a certain degree.
He's on 12 million. He's not on cheap change. He's on 12 million.
But when you look at the wide receivers, you've got your Jamar Chases, you have Stephon Diggs, you have Jefferson, Lamb, the names go on, but when you look at, don't get me wrong, and it's kind of when we mentioned, you're talking about the running backs in this Super Bowl are not like elite type of thing, like they're just there to do their job, the running back by committee in a way. But you could say the same for the wide receivers for these two teams. Like maybe the Eagles do have their number one wide receiver, but would you really put him as elite in AJ Brown? It's questionable. It's questionable. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a top 10 wide receiver, but I wouldn't put him in that elite bracket. Like he's not made jaw-dropping massive plays where it's captivated the audiences, like catches that should never been catched. We'll put it that way.
You read my mind on that, Paul, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
To give you a comparison of who is actually playing in the Super Bowl, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is obviously a first-round pick. He's still on his rookie deal. He's 2.7 million. It's a bit of a fall after that because you've then got Boston Scott on 1.75 million. Miles Sanders on 1.3 million. Ronald Jones on 1.5.
And Ronald Jones was a pickup. Because he was drafted by the Bucs.
They're getting by at running back. They're not.
And you've got the other guys as well. What's his name? Piaccio?
Pacheco.
Thanks for that, Brian. I can never pronounce that guy's name right, so I do apologize if he ever hears this.
Jerry McKinnon.
Jerry McKinnon as well. Oh my goodness.
Trey Sermon. These are not. You don't buy these guys' jerseys.
No.
I mean, as much as one of them could be starting in the Super Bowl, they are not. They're not strengths of either team. They get their successes from the play action.
Yeah.
You know, they set up the pass you to death, and then the running game comes into it. But you're not relying on any one of these guys to win you the game. I mean, obviously, Hurts does a lot of running with his legs. He's the main Eagles running threat. But the option to dump it off to one of these guys and stretch the field is where the Eagles bring their stinger. And obviously, Mahomes' arm makes everybody back off, which creates areas for running backs. They're in perfect systems, put it that way.
Brian, I'm just going to bring up Joe's comment regards to Tony Pollard, and he makes a really good point. We don't know, and it's mostly down to the injury.
Yeah.
It's and it's a fair argument. Like, if you're franchising I'd rather give Tony Pollard a longer deal for him to recover and develop to come back. I wouldn't want to give him a full-on franchise tag coming off an injury. I think that, to me, is a little bit on the silly side if that was to happen from the front office.
If it was me, I would consider one of the other tags a transition tag or the exclusive rights tag, because tying up, as Graham has said, tying up 5 or 6 million, which is the cost of the running back franchise tag, is too much.
Yeah.
And if you use, let's say, one of those other tags, you can get something for Tony Pollard. I think I can kind of see the comments that Elizabeth is thrown in, and she's agreeing with what you're saying, Paul, and I agree as well. It's just something you have to be so wary. It's so much a buyer beware. Yeah. And I'd let Pollard test the market.
I would too. And plus, going into this, like, when I say don't draft a running back, I mean don't draft a running back in the first or second round, because there is some really good guys you can get in these 4th rounds and 5th rounds. I mean, we got Tony Pollard in the 4th round, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
So, but when you kind of compare that to the whole Michael Gallup contract thing, yes, he had a down year.
Yeah.
We've rushed Michael Gallup back because we needed him, because everyone else was not pulling our weight.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it kind of left that cloud over Michael Gallup. Oh, is he worth that? Is he worth that contract?
Yeah.
Give Michael Gallup next season, then we can make that reassessment again. Is he really worth deserving that contract? I think having that, like, if you're coming from any injury and you've got a new contract, I think it's really premature to kind of say, oh, he's not worth it in that first year. Give it the second year, I would say. So the second year is probably the more important, because at least they don't have an excuse going forward.
So we've given it 25 minutes, and unfortunately, Lauren has had to go on IR.
So what does that do for the draft then? Who gets the Cowboys?
Well, we just have to recalculate, won't we?
Yeah, we'll just go with the flow then. We'll go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what mathematicians in the crowd can bring up.
So, Paul, I think you have another screen set up there, do you? To pull up for the draft picks themselves.
Yes, I do. So, just so, guys, if you can see if you're watching our podcast right now, you can see we are using the PFF NFL mock draft. You can try this yourselves and see what you guys think, and have a wee play about. Do all 7 rounds. You can do trades, etc. But just to state what Brian mentioned earlier, that this is a no trade scenario, just for the first round only. And we're going to break down every pick based on every team's needs, and we can say why do we think this is probably the best choice.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, and in the interests of how we said we were going to do this, Graham is going to take the first pick. Paul will take the second pick. I will take the third pick, and we'll go round again up until the 31st pick, because the Dolphins forfeit their first round pick this year, so we only have 31 picks.
Yep. And there's actually quite, I don't know if you guys can, if people are watching right now, if you can see in the board, there's actually quite a lot of teams that do not have a first round draft pick this year.
Yeah. San Francisco.
Yeah. So there's San Francisco, there's the Rams, there's the Broncos, there's the Browns, and yeah, I think actually, no, and obviously the Dolphins. So 4 teams don't have draft picks, first round draft picks this year.
Yeah.
But yes, Labasi's coming in for you there, Graham.
Oh,
his Bears.
Your Bears.
Oh my goodness! All right, but anyway, guys,
is there a bit of conflict of interest here now? Graham picking for one of the rivals of the greats, or Ian Wilson?
They're both irrelevant. Let's not kid ourselves on.
Great answer, Graham. Great answer.
Let me know when you're back in the playoffs.
Okay, guys. So I guess without further ado, shall we start our first mock draft of the 2023 season?
Let's go for it.
All right.
So the Chicago Bears are on the clock. Now,
Yep.
long-time viewers of the show will know that I like to do a little bit of breakdown. I'm not going to just dive straight into my pick. I also think that the first team on the clock usually wait till there's about 30 seconds left on the clock, despite them having decided 3 weeks earlier who they were going to take. They like their name in the spotlight. So,
we like our guys.
At the moment, we have a quarterback thrown at the deep end, very little offensive talent. Not the 85 Bears defense have disappeared long into the sunset. So we are going to stick with Justin Fields. We're going to let him have a little bit more time. With the first pick in the 2023 NFL mock draft, the Chicago Bears select Jalen Carter.
Oh, okay.
Georgia.
Sweet.
Wow.
Okay. Interior defensive tackle going for number 1 overall. I cannot recall the last time that's ever happened.
It has happened. I know that
it has happened, but I think it's been a very, very long time.
Yeah.
We've seen defensive ends, we've seen cornerbacks, we've seen offensive linemen, but I cannot recall the last time a defensive tackle has been the first pick overall. So
I did think about Will Anderson here, but we're in the NFC North, which run the ball, and we need to start collapsing pockets.
Yeah. So, Paul, it's over to you with the Houston Texans, with their biggest needs being quarterback, O-line, defensive line.
I think this one's actually quite a straightforward pick, to be perfectly honest. The Texans are needing a revitalized name in their team to kind of get their franchise out there after the whole Deshaun Watson situation, and they've managed to cope with the scraps for the time being, but you can't be the bottom of the picks for so many years in a row. So hopefully this pick might well, I'm not saying hopefully, obviously being us being Cowboys fans, but in terms of the Texans fans, hopefully this pick might change their fortune. So with that being said, the Houston Texans are going to select Bryce Young from Alabama.
Very good. The interesting thing on this one, Paul, I was listening into the draft show from yesterday, and they were saying, are there any concerns about the fact that Bryce Young is quite small and taking him here?
Everyone said that about Kyler Murray, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah. When did they say, I wish they had said that about Doug Flutie all these years ago, and you know what I mean? Because he was a great player, man. Like, he just never really got the opportunities. some other quarterbacks there, because I think the game back in the early 2000s and 90s, and that was just like you need to be a big, tall, lanky quarterback to be in the NFL, but it's not nowadays. You can be 5'5" if you want to be a quarterback now, as long as you can get the,
So it's over to me with the third pick for the Arizona Cardinals. And again, their biggest needs are O-line, edge, cornerback. And for me, the pick here that makes most sense, considering JJ Watt has retired, Zach Allen is heading to free agency. They don't have a certified edge rusher, and I'm going to give them Will Anderson from Alabama. Makes too much sense to pass him up at this point.
All right.
So it's back to Graham with the Indianapolis Colts, who need a quarterback, O-line, or wide receiver.
What can I say? You can't win without a quarterback. The question is which quarterback. I don't see. I haven't read up on how the Colts see their current options. None excite me. They don't excite me too much, I have to admit.
Their current quarterback room is Matty Ice, Nick Foles, and Sam Ehlinger.
I mean, if Ehlinger wants to take further steps, you could consider him somewhere down the road, but picking fourth overall, you hope to never be picking here again. It's got to be quarterback. They don't have to give up anything. They might pick up the phone. They might move down to 10, 11, 12 and see who's left. Teams have done that in the past.
Just before you make your decision, Graham, do we know if the Colts have actually picked their head coach? Is the head coach been official now? Because we don't know
Jeff
what.
Saturday.
So Jeff Saturday, he's 100% the head coach for next year.
I believe so. I'll take a look here.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering, in case they bring someone else in, they may have a different.
Still to be confirmed, I think.
Because
they're taking their time.
Because that's a decision on itself. Because a head coach might have a different preference of what type of quarterback they want.
This is true. But we don't have until then, unfortunately. So this is down to personal preference. Obviously, picking a new quarterback, you have the potential to start a brand new system. For me, it's going to be about pedigree, and it's going to be with the fourth pick overall. The Indianapolis Colts select C.J. Stroud, quarterback, Ohio State.
Lovely.
Yeah, really solid pick. So the fifth pick in the draft, acquired from the Denver Broncos, is the Seattle Seahawks, who are looking at edge, defensive line, and also quarterback.
And guard and center as well. See, this is a tough one. If Seattle were further down the board, then I would have definitely said try and pick up an offensive lineman to help protect. But then again, I do see someone there who is an absolute monster there. I think they could do a little, definitely need to improve in the pass protection and stuff like that as well. I mean, always pick up a really good defensive end like some Miles Murphy and Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. But yeah, I'm actually going, if they're going the route they're going right now, sticking with Geno Smith, who to me had a really great comeback season of all players right now. The only thing that it was a downfall was that he was sacked quite a lot. So I'm gonna go for it. With that being said, with the fifth pick overall, the Seattle Seahawks select Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State.
Ooh, that's an interesting selection, Paul. Are you considering him as a tackle, or are you looking to play him as guard, considering they got Charles Cross and Abram Lucas, who are playing the tackle spots? Or are you looking to flip one of them in and play Johnson outside?
Couldn't care less.
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
You know, like basically you could pick your two tackles and play the third at guard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
And we've got a new viewer as well. Welcome, Little Mac.
Yeah. There are a lot of calls for the Dallas Cowboys to draft a quarterback. So, Paul, keep your eyes peeled. Make sure there's a quarterback available for us. But with the sixth pick, and again, this pick was traded. Belongs to the Los Angeles Rams, but they traded it to the Detroit Lions when they acquired Matthew Stafford. Their biggest needs are defensive back, defensive line, and linebacker. And I'm looking for someone to pair opposite my number 2 pick from last year in Aiden Hutchison. And I'm looking to have that double threat of 2 big edge rushers, 2 mean edge rushers. And the name that's sticking straight out to me in terms of who I would like to see them pick, and I'm going to make the pick, is Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech.
All right.
So we're back round the horn, and Graham is picking for the Las Vegas Raiders, another team who need quarterback, O-line, and edge.
So before you say, Graham, I think this is going to be the most interesting pick because we don't know what the Raiders are going to do before the draft. Because there's so much rumors about Aaron Rodgers going to Las Vegas. So they might not. They might not draft the quarterback.
We could wake up tomorrow morning and there is no need to draft quarterback. Devontae Adams is making big waves to try and get Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I don't know.
What are they going to trade with? They just traded away first round draft picks last season for Devontae anyway. So
he's not. I mean, he's not a first round pick. They're not going to get a first round pick for
the contract. Yeah,
he has what, 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, a very push. So it's not going to take a great deal, and I don't think the Packers would stand in Rodgers' way if they decide to move on from him. I'm glad I'm not organising the money behind the whole situation because he signed a bumper deal. On you go, Paul. Sorry,
I was just going to ask you a question there, Graham. So, what are you going to base this pick on? Are you going to base it on as things stand right now, or thinking about Aaron Rodgers' situation?
Well, I don't think they're too keen on Jordan Love. From what I'm reading and hearing, they would love to.
No pun intended.
They would love to get the old Aaron Rodgers back. I know, no pun intended. But yeah, for being a first round pick and having 3 years to learn, I don't think it's too rosy for Jordan Love right now. I don't know if he's the future. So I'm going to say that they'll stick with Rodgers basically because we could be here all night. From my understanding of it, there are 3 QBs in the discussion as top 10 talent, and then there's a fall off to the next one. We can all see him. He's sitting there on the board. So let's go with the assumption that they've moved on from Carr. They've got maybe a third, maybe a second. They won't get a first. They won't get a first for Derek Carr. Absolutely no doubt about it. So I've waffled enough. He can start afresh with possibly one of the top 5 receivers in the league. Hopefully they keep Josh Jacobs around as well. With the 7th pick in the 2023 NFL draft, the the Las Vegas
Los
Raiders.
Angeles?
The Las Vegas Raiders select Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky.
All right.
Good pick. So it's over to you, Paul, with the Atlanta Falcons. And again, their needs are edge, quarterback, wide receiver.
Yeah, so at this stage, if I was the Falcons and if this was a trade scenario, I would look to trade down and try and get more capital, pretty much. But obviously, I'm kind of outlining in terms of the drop of quarterbacks and stuff like that as well. I mean, would I
let me ask Paul,
uh,
was that decision made up by what I just did?
in a way, yeah.
Yeah. If Levis was there, are you thinking about Levis?
I would have picked Levis, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
This might be the first trade.
Yeah, I think this.
You could see the Falcons jump up.
Yeah, if Shroud, yeah, that's a good shout. So I mean, if Young or Shroud or Levis are not there before the Falcons, then I could see the Falcons go back potentially. But wide receivers, they're kind of in like the late 10s, early 20s range again. So I'm going to go based on the best player available at this time, and I'm going to go with defensive end Myles Murphy.
Yeah, good solid pick.
When I said at the start of the show that I was hoping that the phone would ring for the Bears, it's one of these three that I'm hoping is on the other end. You know, a Raiders, a Falcons, a Panthers who can jump up to get their guy. You're not going to get 3 1s anymore, but you might get 2 1s and a fourth or a third.
Yeah.
And for a team like the Bears who could do with every pick, I think they'd bite their hand off to move down 6 places, pick up a 1, and still get a top 10 talent on defense. I think it's, but again, it takes 2 to tango.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like, I mean, obviously, look, the season finishes Sunday night. I think the official final date of the season is maybe at some stage next week. And then you'll start seeing trades happening, players moving, once free agency kicks off, that'll help us set a better picture. And just pulling up Joe's comments here, it's hard to know what our needs will be and what until Jerry decides what he's doing in free agency. And the assumption here is that Jerry is going to cover himself with players in all positions that they can draft best player available.
Would make sense.
Yeah,
it would make sense. They do like to shop in the discount bin.
Yes, they do.
So getting back to our picks, and the 9th pick of the draft belongs to the Carolina Panthers. Their needs are quarterback, cornerback, tight end. They're not going to address quarterback here because
running back as well.
Yeah. Again, it's too high, I would say, to take a running back.
You wouldn't think about Richardson here?
No. I don't think Richardson's a first-round talent. I wouldn't take him if he was there and he was the Cowboys pick.
Okay.
I don't rate the guy that highly at all. I think he's a third-round talent at best. So I'm kind of looking at the board there, and the name which sticks out to me, and again, it's about addressing a need for this team in Carolina. They have JC Horn, who we were very, very interested in 2021. And I'm going to give them a guy to go opposite JC Horn, and I'm going to give them Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon.
Ooh, I like that one.
It was very tight between him and Devin Witherspoon, who's out of Illinois. But I would consider Gonzalez to be the better player, and that's why I went with that pick. It would have been one or the other on those 2 players. It's kind of what player you want. So flicking it on to the 10th pick, which does belong to the New Orleans Saints, but they traded it away. And I believe this was part of the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade?
Couldn't tell you, mate. Could not tell you.
But basically, this is some team from somewhere up north. Don't really care what their name is. Their needs: defensive back, edge, defensive line. Graham, it's over to you.
Yeah, we're going to take here. We're going to take Alan Rosker, the punter out of Rutgers.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
No, let's stay professional. Let's stay professional.
You're not going to give them a long snapper.
Lambarski made the report. It may have been the Chris Olave trade.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. This is why we love the interaction from you guys watching.
Thank you, Lambarski.
Giving us, we're trying to do the show, talk at the same time and think. So we do appreciate all these kinds of comments coming in. So Graham, it is for you to pick for that team.
PFF have them as wide receiver needy. It's not like they haven't tried to address it. They've got Johnson and Smith, who are both first-round talents.
Yeah, and Brown, AJ Brown.
Who did I say?
You said Johnson.
Has Graham tipped his pick already?
No, I haven't. No. they've got Brown and Smith. That's who I was thinking of. Obviously, that's who I was thinking of. But they've got bigger issues than wide receiver. Really. Maybe that's just the way it sits on the website. It's not obvious. I have to admit, it's not obvious. It's probably a little too rich for Robinson. 10th overall. I know we've all seen the video, but wow, it's one video against in shorts and pads and so on. So, their corner situation is set. There's no center.
It's like way far down for a center.
Yeah. Like,
don't need interior.
The defensive backs, they're not overly set at corner because
that's a good point.
They I think both of their corners are coming up due out of contract. So I have the NFL site open and it is saying defensive back, edge, and defensive line are their needs. They have a lot of free agents on their coming up due on their roster.
I mean, they've got Darius Slay and Bradbury.
But I think Bradbury is a free agent. I think he only signed a 1-season deal.
He might move on.
Yeah. And Slay isn't getting any younger.
No.
That might actually help the decision here.
Steve is just putting in his tuppence worth, and he says, I think they'd go with Robinson and just adding another weapon to help.
Steve, behave.
I mean, they've got the number. They've got the number 2 offense in the league and the number 3 defense in the league, so they're doing all right. As much as that pains me to admit. Okay. Let's go with rarities and consider that Brandon Graham is 34 years old. With the 10th pick in the 2023 mock draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Lucas Van Ness, edge rusher of Iowa.
Ooh.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I like the pick. Definitely like the pick, and I think Van Ness is he's a rising and ascending talent, and he's going to go further up the boards.
Yeah.
as the combine rolls around, as pro days roll around. So definitely. And Lebarski is saying it sucks that they're picking that early. It is true, and it sucks that it's hard to find needs. They're going to have needs, and they're going to be a team that are going to be tight against the cap next year, because if Hurts leads them to a Super Bowl victory, he's entering his final year of his contract. Do you not think he's going to want the payday?
You'll be on more money than Dak, put it that way.
Yeah. So definitely the comment from Jerry earlier in the week about sacrificing it all for one season, it could hold some water.
Yep.
Yeah. Brandon Graham's 34 years old and he's in the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
But we're not the only team who is adding void years to contracts. Brandon Graham is a $10 million charge against the cap for the Eagles in 2024. Oof. And he isn't signed.
Yeah.
So we're not the only team doing it.
Yeah. We've just cheered up Lebarski with our talk about how tight they are against the cap. On the horizon, as he says. So, Paul, you're up at number 11 with the Tennessee Titans pick, and they are in need of O-line, wide receiver, or tight end.
This one is a straightforward decision for me. All right. When you look at number 12 with the Texans being there, they've just got their new quarterback. They wouldn't mind having another wide receiver in their roster.
Paul, it's hello? The Titans, not the Texans.
I know. But I'm using the Texans as my reason here. So, and with and obviously them trading away AJ Brown last year to that team up north, the whatever you want to call them these days. What's the head coach's name? Is it Gable? What his name is?
Mike Vrabel.
He was not happy with that trade, obviously, so he would want get a wide receiver in there to actually help out Ryan Tannehill. So, with that being said, with the 11th pick overall for the Tennessee Titans, they select Quentin Johnson from TCU.
Oh, I do like that pick. I like that pick a lot.
They'll be if that goes through, they'll be very, very young at wide receiver because they've got Traylon Burks as well.
Yeah.
So it's back around now to me with the Texans, and obviously, look, the Texans have addressed their glaring need. They've picked up their quarterback and face of the franchise for the next year at least. It's the Texans after all. So for me, I'm going to give him a little bit of protection. I'm going to pick an offensive lineman just to give him that little bit of boost. And Peter Skoronski from Northwestern is headed to Houston.
I like that one.
So at number 13, it is the New York Jets, who are picking quite low for them. So again, their needs offensive line, safety, and quarterback.
Yeah. That's a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quarterback. Wow, I'd love to have paid more attention to the Jets season because it kind of turned into a kind of round robin. Towards the end of it, it was like, who's going to start quarterback for the Jets this week?
Mm-hmm. It just sounds like the Jets being Jets as usual to me.
Yeah.
Do you know it's terrible if they move on from Wilson because they are too quick to throw these quarterbacks in the bin.
Yeah.
It's a huge step for them. It really, really is. I mean, you don't have to play the game to understand how big the step up is. I mean, all you have to do is read about it. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think the guys move on from Wilson? The Jets move on from Wilson?
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will.
I think they might, because I don't think Salah wanted Zach Wilson. I think this was a pick made by the GM. Zach Wilson was very up and down. Steve is saying here Wilson's attitude has had some effects on their choice, and I agree with him on that.
Yeah.
You know, he's had plenty of encounters, so to speak. So I think they might just go, look, let's move this circus out of town. They might try and address the quarterback situation in free agency or with a trade or something like that. There's going to be, guys that are going to be available. You know, Aaron Rodgers talk. There is talk of him going to the Jets. Matty Ice might be available. Derek Carr might be available.
Hey, listen, Labarski just nailed this in the coffee for the Jets. They do have Hall of Famer and Mike White.
Yeah, they do.
Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers being the second Packers quarterback to wash up in New York in recent history?
Wow.
Stranger things have happened.
No, I can't buy into it.
Yeah.
I can't buy into it.
Is this potentially maybe a point for BPA right now? Best player available?
It may well be best player available, Paul, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Let's go for the first shock of the draft.
Oh, okay.
Oof.
With the 13th pick overall, the New York Jets select Bijan Robinson, halfback out of Texas.
See, I knew you were going to do that. I had a gut feeling. I had a gut feeling you were going to go running back there.
Oh, I can't believe you've made that decision, Graham. I can't believe you're not going to put it on Paul to turn him down.
Thank God.
I jumped into the Jets roster.
They've invested quite heavily in running backs. They took Michael Carter in 21, Breece Hall last year. They have a lot of running backs, but I mean, as Broadus always says, build strength on strength. If you got to go up to good guys, add another one.
They're a running team.
Yeah,
they're a run first team. That
they've got good O-line, the Jets. To be
they
fair,
have got good O-line.
Yeah,
I didn't see. They don't need safety. They don't need interior defensive
they actually
line.
do need safety. Safety was one of their considerations.
I'm gonna stick with the pick.
Yeah. Well, it's too. Well, you don't have to.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. Lebarski is disappointed because Lebarski is another Big 12 guy, and as I said, I don't think Lebarski and Jamie Smith have ever been seen in the same room. So he thinks they're quite happy with Breece Hall that they wouldn't take another running back. Lebarski knows a lot of Big 12 football.
They love flash players in New York.
They love breaking them.
Unless they actually do something screwed up in an interview.
So, Paul, it's over to you. Pick number 14, the New England Patriots, whose biggest needs are offensive tackle, wide receiver, and defensive back.
Yeah. This one, I'm torn between best player available and one certain player.
Okay.
Like for BPA, I would have picked Brian BC from Clemson.
Yeah.
But they are needing wide receiver. And What more would it be crazy for people in Massachusetts and Boston to pick a player from Boston? So, with that being said, we're the 14th pick overall. The New England Patriots select Zay Flowers from Boston College.
Wow. We are.
PFF have the Patriots down as quarterback needy. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that could be something. So we're around to pick 15 with the Green Bay Packers, who need safety, tight end, edge. Aaron Rodgers is sitting in a corner quietly in the fetal position, wondering when they're going to get him a quarterback or a wide receiver. There's wide receivers on the board. I'm looking at them and I'm going, sorry, Aaron, it ain't happening. And I am going to make a very bold pick here. A teammate of his is already there on the defensive line. I'm going to take Nolan Smith, edge from Georgia, at number 15.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Don't sleep on Christian Watson.
I'm not sleeping on Watson.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
We did.
Watch out for Christian Watson next year.
Yeah, we definitely slept in that one. If all the games he turned up upon us.
Yeah. Lebarski, just in relation to the New England Patriots pick, Belichick will wind up taking some guy with a third-round grade.
Hey, I need to defend that, sorry. Cole Strange was a late first, early second-round grade, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. He still is.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Travis Frederick had a third-round grade.
There you go.
Tyler Smith had a third-round grade. And I saw a redraft during the week, which had him going at number 6 to the Carolina Panthers. So, it shows what do we know. Glad we could help Watson propel his season. Yeah, that's true, Lebarski. So, Paul, we're back around the horn to you with the final pick in the upper half of the draft. It is a divisional rival from Washington.
Was it on me?
It's on you at pick 16.
No, I picked Zay Flowers. It's back to you.
It's Graham. Sorry, my apologies, Graham.
I seem to be getting a lot of NFC East.
You do. But your biggest needs: quarterback, cornerback, offensive line.
Graham, just to let you know, you're getting the Cowboys pick.
Oh
no!
Is he?
Yep. I've just calculated how.
Oh, the pressure!
I think it's you, Paul.
No, it's because the forfeit of the Dolphins is now forced onto Graham.
Oh.
So I picked too early.
See, this is the situation where I should start my college viewing a lot earlier because PFF have Richardson ranked 11th, and are you Jamie Smith in disguise? Yeah.
Don't you dare screw this up, Graham.
Here we go. I mean, can you really go with another Taylor Heineke season? I mean, Carson Wentz, Sam Howell, and Taylor Heineke.
What you're thinking there, Graham? I've just scrolled back up so everyone can see.
Yeah.
all the draft picks so far. So just to kind of recap so far. So number 1 overall was Jalen Carter. 2 was Bryce Young. 3 was Will Anderson Jr. 4 was CJ Stroud. 5 was Paris Johnson Jr. 6 is Tyree Wilson. 7 Will Levis. 8 Miles Murphy. 9 Christian Gonzalez. 10 Lucas Van Ness. 11 Quentin Johnston. 12 Peter Stornowski. 13 Bijan Robinson. 14 Zay Flowers. And 15 Nolan Smith. And we're back to Washington with the 16th pick overall.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a little something here, Graham, just off the NFL site themselves. Washington had only one of PFF's top 80 highest graded cornerbacks this season in Kendall Fuller. And Fuller has just 1 year left on his contract.
I mean, the option's staring me in the face if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, this is why this is such a great game, because the NFL is such a great league to watch. PFF don't even have cornerback listed for the Redskins, the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a helpful piece of information, Brian. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go with the 16th pick. The Washington Commanders select Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Okay. Over to myself.
So at 17, you're picking for the Steelers, whose needs are O-line, cornerback, and defensive line.
I think in this case, I cannot mess up the best player available. It's left on the board right now.
Yep.
It could do with more interiors, to be perfectly honest, as well. So I'm going to cut it short and sweet. The Pittsburgh Steelers at number 17 select Brian Bresee from Clemson.
Yeah, that's very good value at that position in the draft. And Lebarski is very much behind your pick there, Paul.
You just don't know how many teams are going to address it as best player available.
Yeah. Pittsburgh tend to go with that way of picking in terms of best player available. You know, so it's not unexpected from them.
In fact, let me just double check if it is Graham picking this. I'm sure it is. So who's on the clock now? Is it back to you, Brian?
It's back to me.
So it's Brian on Lions, Tampa, Graham, Seahawks, me, Chargers, Brian, Ravens, Graham, Vikings, myself. Crap, it is me.
You told you. I did tell you were picking for the Cowboys. Graham has already broken your heart and picked Bijan Robinson for ahead of
Lebarski, do not worry.
Yeah, I'm so gutted.
Do not worry. Do not worry. I will end up with the Cowboys pick. We do plenty of these during the off season. I will end up with the Cowboys pick at some point. Don't you worry.
Yeah. So it's
like,
back
because
to me.
Mike will set me up to have the Cowboys pick at some point. Let's face it.
It is back to me with the 18th pick, and it's back to the Detroit Lions with their actual pick. And again, as we say, their needs: defensive back, defensive line, linebacker is also a need. But I'm looking at a guy there on the board, one of the players available, and I'm considering the fact that I traded away at the trade deadline one of my more elite weapons. I spoke to the Detroit Lions UK group when we played them this season, and they were quite upset about the fact that he was allowed go in that trade. And I'm looking and going, I'm surprised this guy is still available. And in a class where there are a lot of great players who are going to be available, in this position. I'm going to address another position of need for the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to take Michael Meyer, tight end, out of Notre Dame.
Oh, I was not expecting that. Yeah. Because of course they traded away Hawkinson.
DJ Hawkinson. Yeah.
And that completely like threw me off there. I was thinking, when did they trade away a wide receiver? I was like, oh no, that's a good pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Graham, it is back to you, pick 19, and you are picking for the now Tom Brady-less Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unless Tom has unretired again in the last 5 minutes.
Is it right that every selection I have made, the team is QB needy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just take the Aaron Rodgers conversation as read.
Yeah.
Let's say he's still a Packer. We've probably in real time we've probably moved on about an hour and a half. So he's still a Packer.
Yeah.
Meyer would have been good here.
Yeah.
Did the wide receiver position let them down when it mattered?
What NFL is telling us their needs are obviously quarterback, defensive back, and offensive line. You still have Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin there. You have a lot of guys there at the wide receiver position. Whether they're going to be elite next season, I suppose, will depend on what the Buccaneers do in free agency. Will they pick up a quarterback in free agency?
Probably.
Might they spin the wheel and look to pick up the Ginger Ninja himself, who will probably be available? Or might they consider looking at the Red Rifle?
Do you know, Daniel Jeremiah on the 31st uploaded his top 50. Bijan Robinson is 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
In terms of talent, Robinson is he's one of the top 5 players. But in terms of need, we all agree running back is not a position you want to pick as a top 5 or top 10 pick.
Yep.
How sure are you on Anthony Robinson being a third-round talent?
I would say I can only tell you what I think. I think he's a third-round talent, but played his college football in Florida. He's used to the environment. He'll be playing 8 games a season in warm weather. He's played seven games a season in warm weather for the last couple of years. He might be an ascending talent. And for a team that does need a quarterback, you bring in a veteran anyway to back him up, and maybe let the veteran start the season and bring Richardson in as the season goes on.
Because right now, to my knowledge, the starting quarterback of the Buccaneers is Kyle Trask.
Another former Florida guy.
I mean, that's a scary proposition.
Yeah, I think he was Florida. He
not?
might have been Miami. If someone can correct me in the comments if that's wrong.
TikTok.
I know, TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the Richardson conversation.
Yeah.
It was indeed Florida, Brian.
There's
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it be the Florida connection? Yeah. Just had a quick scan at Jeremiah's notes. He needs development. Don't ask me what they're going to do at quarterback because I don't know. Aaron Rodgers may well be the option there. Let's go with rarity and let's go with pedigree at the same time. So with the 19th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Anton Harrison, tackle out of Oklahoma.
Where's he? Anton Harrison.
Go back up. He was higher up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think Anton
Goal
Harrison
line is a need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Brady would have liked an awful lot more time in the pocket. And I've said plenty of times before, you build the foundations before you buy the Ferrari. And if they throw somebody that's not ready in at the deep end in day one in September, he might just get eaten up behind that O-line. I mean, I know he's got the wide receivers, but Brady could get the ball out quick. A rookie's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. So, Paul, it's back to you, and it's the Seattle Seahawks are back on the clock. Just to give you the lowdown, they have edge, defensive line, and quarterback needs. And I think we already took an offensive lineman for them at pick 5.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
So it's over to you.
And what is all the needs again, sorry?
Sorry, edge, defensive line, and quarterback.
You know what? I'm gonna go somewhere different. I think I don't know what you think about their linebacker core.
Okay.
Like, just kind of like
if Jordan Brooks is one of their main linebackers.
I'm just looking at their roster right now. They've got Tanner, Darrell Taylor, Bruce Irvin, Tanner Muse, Cody Barton, Jordan Brooks. He's in IR.
Yeah.
I suppose. Cornerbacks there got Talik Woolen, Mike Jackson, Trey Brown, and Kobe Bryant. Not as an actual Kobe Bryant, but a different Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati.
Brian, did you say quarterback as a need?
That's what the NFL site is telling me.
I would disagree with that.
I would disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like, especially
I thought Geno Smith had a pretty good season.
So did I. The only thing that really killed him was he was getting sacked all the time.
Yeah.
Helps when
I think again, for me, meeting an app, I think this is now a best player available. Can't let this player drop down any further. So I'm gonna stamp it down. So with the 20th pick overall, the Seattle Seahawks select Brian Branch, safety from Alabama.
Yeah. Solid pick. I don't think you can go wrong.
They love a safety in Seattle.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Because I'm looking at they've got Ryan Neal and Quarantine Diggs and Jonathan Abram.
Yeah,
mean, so Jonathan Abram, I think, is great.
Abram has floated around. He hasn't stuck anywhere since he was caught by the Raiders.
Yeah, he's got talent, but he just can't keep the job, really.
Yeah. So it's background to me with the Los Angeles Chargers, the most boring team in the draft, the team that never does anything.
Kellen Moore's in town. Here we go.
When you say boring team, you wouldn't say that about the bloody PR team, though.
No.
Get ready for 40 burger every 4th week.
Oh my God. Oh.
So the NFL site here is telling me their needs are defensive back, offensive line, wide receiver. And as they say, they're the most boring team. They will have already handed in the card and you'll be moving along to the Baltimore Ravens to make their pick. So I'm going to drag this out for a little bit of fun. So I'm looking at the board. I'm going, there's a lot of nice guys there that I like the look of. Maybe Luke Musgrave is a tight end there. I like the look of him. And Siaki Ika is another guy, and BJ Ojulari. But there was a name further up the list which
did his brother come into the league this
Aziz Ojulari.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Are they brothers?
Yes, I believe so. They both went to LSU.
There you go.
So get ready for 10-yard losses on trick plays and running on 1st and 2nd down. Lebarski, are you in this room with me? Do you know what I'm about to do? Have Lebarski and Brian been seen in the same room at the same time? Very true.
He did bring up a good point that Geno Smith's actually a free agent.
Yeah, he'll resign with them. So I've kind of played the odds, and I'm looking and going, there's a couple of wide receivers there still on the board who would intrigue me, to go with Mike Williams, with Keenan Allen, with I believe Tyler Higbee is my tight end, is he?
Yeah.
But I'm playing it out. I've known since the 19th pick who I'm actually going to pick, and it's time for a Florida Gator to come on down. Osiris Torrance, you're now a Los Angeles Charger.
Osiris Torrance, yeah.
Osiris Torrance. And it's over to Graham.
The Baltimore Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens are not a team who needs a quarterback.
Really? Did you think so?
Their biggest needs, according to
you know what? The idea of Richardson to the Ravens kind of might stir the pot a little bit.
You'd never know. But according to the NFL, the biggest needs are cornerback, wide receiver, and edge.
No, I think I agree that they're not QB needed, because I do like the look of Tyler Huntley. If they were stupid enough to do something stupid and let Lamar Jackson be traded or test the water, I've seen reports that there's $100 million difference in the contract on the table, which is ludicrous to me.
And Graham, are you talking about Pro Bowl Tyler Huntley?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's a better like for like in the league than Jackson and Huntley. Can you guys think of a better one?
They're very similar quarterbacks.
They're so similar. I mean, big arms, move with your feet. So I'm going to stay away from. Let's just assume that Jackson gets it worked out. But again, this goes back to the whole, I'm a top 10 quarterback, so it automatically means I get to be the highest paid. Just because there's so few of us around. Grinds my gears. It really does. But there we are. That's the situation. The exact reason why Jimmy Garoppolo got the deal that he did. never a top 15 quarterback in a million years, but becomes the highest paid. So there you are.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, who are the Ravens wide receivers? I couldn't tell you. I would have to look it up.
I'll get that for you right now, dude.
I
Because
mean,
they also traded away Marquise Brown
right now
during the draft
on
last year.
ESPN, they have Sammy Watkins down as a starter. I mean,
Devin
really?
Duvernay.
Really?
Mhm.
Is that how poorly off we are? I know they've got Bateman, but he ended the season on IR. Duvernay was on IR.
So here's their wide receivers. They're DeMarcus Robinson, Shamar Bridges, Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Mike Thomas, Devin Duvernay, James Prochet II, and Andrew Isabella, and Tyler Wallace.
I mean, that is like I know all of those names, but that is a room full of guys and guys who have been cut by other teams and have moved around the NFL.
Yeah. They could do with a nice Steve Smith type of number one guy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not to influence your decision here, Graham.
As Lebarski also says, they're a bunch of small dudes, which they are.
Yeah. Let me do one quick search. Bear with me.
How far away are we from the Cowboys pick? We're what, five picks away?
Yeah.
Okay. So, folks, if you want to start, putting in your thoughts on who you would like, maybe what are the names that interest you based on who's available. Hopefully, between the three of us, we won't pick the guy that you want.
Right. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, we have a room full of questionables at wide receiver. Let's get some help on offense for a change, because might be just my knowledge, but do the Ravens not automatically pick a defensive player in the first round, like every single draft season? And obviously they're good on defense for a reason. But let's show the offensive side of the ball. There's no edge rusher here from what I can see, apart from Ojolari.
Yeah.
There's Andre Carter II from Army, Will McDonald IV. You could probably get them later in the round, but
yeah, let's get Jackson some help. So with the 22nd pick in the NFL mock draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver out of Ohio.
Oh, Mike Poland is going to be quite disappointed about that. I'd say there might have been a pen toss from Mike.
Come on, you can't leave it there.
Yeah. But Lebarski, I think Lebarski has revealed himself. There is a big no, and you are dead to me, Graham.
Would you have liked him to fall to 26? Is that the problem?
That is what
yes,
Rich Jones is saying.
Doesn't work like that.
You wanted Jackson Smith-Njigba at 26.
Doesn't work like that. Just look up last year's draft. That's why we had so many question marks over Tyler Smith. Doesn't work like that, but don't panic.
So, Paul, it's over to you with pick 23, and it is the Minnesota Vikings who are picking.
So what's all their needs right now? Because obviously we've only got a wee short list here from PFF, and they can be a wee bit inaccurate.
So defensive back, defensive line, wide receiver are the picks.
Really? Wide receiver as well? Despite they've got Jefferson and Andrew and Thielen.
Yeah. Thielen is Thielen is really pushing on though at this stage. You're going, how much longer do I have Thielen for? And Jefferson is a case of, do I want to maybe add a dude and see if they can replicate? And maybe you're not going to pay Justin Jefferson the close to 30 million it's going to take to get that deal done.
I'm just going to see if I can get the stats for the Vikings right now. I just want to check something. Okay, so Kirk Cousins was sacked 46 times this season.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I think he's actually tied third overall in most sacked in quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that's definitely brought to my attention. They could probably still get good, decent corners and wide receivers in the later rounds anyway. So, and I'm looking at one particular guy right now. So with that being said, with the 23rd pick overall, the Minnesota Vikings select Broderick Jones from tackle from Georgia.
Very good pick. Very, very good pick. So it's over to me with the 24th pick. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars who are picking here. Their needs are defensive line, offensive tackle, cornerback. I'm also looking and going, there's a quarterback there. Do I maybe need a quarterback?
I don't think so.
It is a time to maybe move on from the Sunshine Project and get a local boy in.
He did get them to the playoffs.
A guy who's played in Florida. Or am I yanking your chain?
Of course you are. There's no way they're moving on from Lawrence.
So look,
Such a troll.
So what is intriguing me here is there are two possibilities on the board that I'm definitely looking at. I'm looking at who's coming behind me in the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys and their needs as well. And do I want to make that pick now and deny them of this player? For me, it's coming down to two guys, two very obvious guys. And I'm going to pick Cam Smith, cornerback out of South Carolina.
Oh, that's a good pick.
And
okay, Graham.
Over to Mr. Graham, who again picks for
NFC
East team who need wide receiver, who need interior offensive line, and need defensive backs.
I can't get over the need at wide receiver, though. Yeah, I'm just going to have one quick check. Yeah, I don't see why not. With the 25th pick in the NFL mock draft, the New York Giants select Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC.
Oof. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Oh my. So Graham has absolutely destroyed the hopes of Cowboys Nation and taken a big-bodied wide receiver off the board in Jordan Addison. Paul, I don't think you liked that pick, did you?
I didn't mind it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that fully sold on Addison. No, I'm not.
Graham, you're off Labarski's Christmas card list.
I think he'll be thinking I've taken two wide receivers just to annoy him.
Yeah.
Right. So
To be
It
fair,
is all
the Ravens and Giants are desperate at wide receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Here's a conversation starter for you, Graham. Did quarterback enter your mind at all for the Giants, considering
No.
Daniel Jones is a free agent?
No. I believe it or not, he is a playoff quarterback. He's a quarterback of a winning team. And to do it with the receiver core that he has,
Yeah.
you can't ignore that. You kind of have. I'm almost willing to cut Jones a break and think, right, okay, maybe we were a little bit harsh towards the end of the contract.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny at the start. Don't get me wrong; it was really funny at the start, but he might not have Barkley for much longer. He's got a wide receiver core that is patchwork. To get Addison, I think he'd be delighted. And to get him to the playoffs as well. In our division, I think we kind of have to cut Jones a little bit of slack.
Very good. So, Paul, it's over to you with the Cowboys pick for 26. I think I know where I go with this pick, but give us your thoughts and who give us a rundown of some of the players that are available before you do reveal your pick, and some of the players that are in your thoughts here at 26.
The obvious choice would have been Joey Porter right now, but I am very, very tempted just to even pull the trigger on a wide receiver. Still, I know it might sound a bit of a reach, but I am a big Josh Downs fan.
Okay. Steve is just adding in his tokens worth. Jalen Duncan or Cody Mosh, or if they're not keeping Schultz and with him still on the board, Luke Musgrave.
I wouldn't draft a tight end this early.
Yeah. Graham, anyone there on the board that you would consider?
I was going to mention one more player, but but I'm even contemplating Trenton Simpson just to add more depth to linebacker as well.
Well, you haven't mentioned the guy I would actually I would pick if it was me. But it is your pick. But Graham, is there anyone else there that you're looking at maybe picking up?
Maybe an Antonio Johnson. I'm not too sure how we're doing contract wise at safety.
Yeah, we have Curse and we have Hooker. Donovan Wilson might be coming back.
Exactly, maybe, and they like to play with. Yeah, Quinn likes to play with 3.
Yeah.
I mean, could you bring in Ojulari and get a little bit younger at defensive end? That would obviously mean letting a few players go, but they are at the moment. It's not obvious. I'll give that to Paul. It's not obvious.
Yeah, for me, the name that sticks out a mile and is a guy I've seen mocked to the Cowboys in a lot of mock drafts is Siaki Ika, who is the defensive tackle out of Baylor, who is a guy you could use as an anchor, as a nose tackle if Jonathan Hankins isn't coming back. And you are making the assumption they're going to cover themselves at all positions so that they can draft best player available.
Is
that's
Fowler
the guy
coming back? Fowler.
Yeah.
For me, I just can't let Downs go away. I really can't. I know it sounds, you guys may think it may be a wee bit of a reach, but we've been saying that quite a lot with recent Cowboys draft picks. We've may have reached, but they've turned out to be really, really good. So I don't see why this would be any different. So
Lebarski is saying, just before you do make your pick, Paul, if it's not a wide receiver, it's got to be Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State.
Yeah, it's between Porter and Josh Downs. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Because the way I'm seeing it right now, we need to give Dak more weapons right now. And Joey Porter he's 5'8". He's a speedster. And if that's one thing we need in the wide receiver right now, speed. So it may be a reach. Sue me. I don't give a F. So I don't, but I want to know what you guys think once I've made this pick. So with that being said, with the 26th pick overall, the Dallas Cowboys select wide receiver Josh Downs from North Carolina.
Lock it in. That is the pick. So, folks, if you wanna let us know what your thoughts are, Lebarski is saying get us that wide receiver, Paul. Graham broke his heart. You denied him Jackson Smith and Jigba. You denied him Jordan Addison, and Paul has gone out and got the wide receiver for us. My own, I would have gone with Porter of the two, but I was Ika intrigues me. He really does, and he's a guy I'm going to watch an awful lot more.
I think we've got a lot of good variety to pick from best play. Like there's so many best player available, but depending on what you prioritize your position. Would I say wide receivers are first priority? I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
Will Josh Downs be there when we come round to the second round? Absolutely not.
Nope.
I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
So why not? If it doesn't work out, then we can. And I think we're going to double down on wide receiver in the draft anyway. So makes sense.
Graham, let us know your thoughts.
I don't hate the pick, and I fully agree with Paul's reasoning.
Yeah.
But is this an admission that we missed on the Michael Gallup extension? And is this an admission that Jalen Tolbert
I'd say it's more
he's not a third round talent?
For me, it's the Jalen Tolbert one. Gallup, I still think this season it's the prove it year, not last season, but this year. So I think when we've got Michael Gallup back to 100% full health, along with like Josh Downs and CD Lamb, and potentially that other wide receiver we might draft in the later rounds, that will be an absolute arsenal of variety for Dak, I think.
Yeah.
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 Like, just to put this in another way as well. Like, we've got two proper wideouts. We don't really have much of a slant runner as much. Like in terms of like a shortened wide receiver, and we don't have like your Edmonds and Cole Beasley's out there as much anymore. We don't have that. Josh Downs is that, but he exceeds that to the next level.
So I'm just looking at the Bleacher Report's rundown on Josh Downs. So their positives is he's good downfield speed, reasonable deep threat. He has above average foot speed and quickness, smooth mover between the zones, and excels at finding soft spots for the QB. Good yak threat due to change of direction skills and speed. Good hands in traffic for his size. Comfortable playing with bodies around, and he's a willing blocker.
And that's another thing, blocking and hands. That's the two key things for me as well. Ball security.
I'm going to throw out one more, Paul. If Osiris Torrance is still there,
if Osiris Torrance was there, I probably would have picked him. That would have been too good of an opportunity to miss out.
Yeah. That's if Torrance is there at 26 on draft night, don't hesitate. Run that card up to the podium.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you the question I think Rich Jones might ask. John Michael Schmitz, Cody Mock, did they enter your thought process? Or was was 26 too rich?
I think 26 maybe a wee bit too rich. Cody Mark potentially, but he is a pure tackle. He can play guard, but Schmitz is definitely I would have considered, but I think if we do bring back McGovern and keep him stable, what's that?
I don't think we're bringing McGovern back. Too many other needs.
That's why I asked the question of Torrance, because right now we are, as it stands, as of today, we have a hole at left guard.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like they've done in the past, they fill most of the holes before the draft.
Yeah.
And they'll probably have their guard in place. So it's not going to be an issue. So wide receiver will be on the table at 26.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that they get guard sorted out so that we can make that kind of pick. You know?
Yeah. So, Paul, I'm just going to read out the negatives on Josh Downs. Obviously, he's 5'10", weighs 175 pounds. Like, that's very small for a modern day wide receiver. The negatives: small build, play strength suffers greatly. He's a slot only player due to his size and strength issues, and he can struggle to leap and pinpoint the ball at its highest point. He's not a vertical ball winner.
And that's I think that's the thing we've lacked the most, though, is we've not had a wide receiver in the short yards.
Yeah.
Like, we've got two guys that can play the deep threat in CD and Gallup. We don't really have anyone but like Dalton Schultz to play for the short gains.
Yeah.
So again, that kind of helps me justify why picking Josh Downs makes more sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but guys, get your comments in. Do you think it's a bit of a reach? Feel free to let them comments come in. Who would you have picked? Like, we would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, like Levarsky's commenting on
this point. Sorry, Brian. I was asked at this point. I was going to ask, is there a Tyreek Hill in this draft? But the Cowboys probably wouldn't take him anyway.
Who's this, sorry?
Is there a Tyreek Hill in this draft? A speedster? Then again, the Cowboys probably won't take him, even if it's on the cards. I don't think Tyreek Hill is.
It's Wilson. Is it Tank Dell or Michael Wilson that we're looking at?
Jalen Hyatt, probably. I would say.
No, he's not. He's not that fast. He'd be a 4-4, 4-5 guy.
What about Marvin Mims?
No.
Like, who is the Cowboys player that takes the top off? You know, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, if it's going to be West Coast system under Mike McCarthy, then that's fine. But I would like to have speed at some point. Anyway, I'm conscious that we're 1 hour and 50 minutes in, and we've still got a few picks to make.
Hyatt is a 4.29.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. That's what I said him. Because I was going to say, because J-Tut did the whole breakdown on Hyatt, and he looked really, really quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of saying. I thought Hyatt would have been like...
Would the Cowboys take him?
In the second round, 100%. If he's there in the second round, that would have been our wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, I will say, like, if I decide to go with Joey Porter or Ika, then I would do everything on my path to get Jalen Hyatt in the second round.
Yeah.
That would have been the guy to get in the second.
Well, the concern with Jalen Hyatt, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him, is one season of production with Tennessee. That's it. So you're kind of pinning your hopes on him doing it. And that's kind of what we did with Jalen Tolbert.
Again, it's a gamble. And don't forget, we made the gamble with Micah Parsons with him taking the season out.
Yeah. Yeah. So Look, we're coming up on 2 hours. We still have 5 picks to make, so we'll move along anyway. The Buffalo Bills are picking at 27. Their needs: offensive line, wide receiver, linebacker. I'm looking, and again, it's too easy to not make this pick. Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, is the pick, regardless of what their needs are. Cannot leave him on board past this stage.
Fair play.
So Cincinnati Bengals are up at 28. Their needs are defensive back, offensive tackle, tight end.
Kansas there for Pittsburgh as well. They do need O-line, though, but there's no one really good there enough to kind of go for a first round.
Is there a need at quarterback?
No.
Well, if Lebarski is who I think he is, I think he's screaming at the screen right now and saying, "Let's trade Joe Burrow to the Dallas Cowboys," and they'll have a vacancy.
Yeah, there's not much wrong with that offense.
Yeah.
Besides the O-line.
They might need a tight end.
Yeah, tight end, yeah. Like that probably makes the most logical choice. If it was me, Musgrave is a shout.
Yeah.
But
like Hayden Hurst is unrestricted. Drew Sample and Mitchell Wilcox are on expiring deals, and Devin Asiasi is entering a contract year in 2023.
So let me get the depth chart for Cincinnati, and I'll see what it is like. I'm just trying to look at defensively as well. So give me one wee moment. So Cincinnati, where are we? Okay. So in terms of, linebacker, they've got Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and they've only got one middle linebacker. Only one. Marcus, so I'll list up all the linebackers they've got. Logan Wilson, Joe Bacci, Clay Johnston, who played the wide, the W. Middle linebacker is Jermaine Pratt. Sam Backer is Akeem Davis-Gaither, Marcus Bailey, and Kendry Jones. So they've only got 7 linebackers there.
That's more than we have.
Yeah.
Oh, Lebarski really is trolling tonight. He trade Dak and Gallup for Burrow and Chase. I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals would take that trade.
Nah.
Yeah, let's give them some more help on defense. Let's go with the 28th pick in the 2023 NFL mock draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select Trenton Wilson, linebacker of Clemson.
Simpson, you mean?
Simpson.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Paul, it's over to you. With pick 29.
Officially, this is my last pick.
This is your last pick. It is the New Orleans Saints after picking up the.
You don't need to tell me you don't need to tell me the needs for this one. Because I know who I'm picking. I know I'm picking for this.
Quarterback, defensive line, interior offensive line. Punters are people too.
I think now is probably the right time to pull the trigger on quarterback for San Francisco, New Orleans. So, they're kind of relying on like a Dalton and what's his face is the hybrid tight end quarterback, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
So I think that being said, now it's time to pull the trigger on it. So with my last pick for tonight, and with the 29th pick overall, the New Orleans Saints select Anthony Richardson from Florida.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. We're down to the final 2 picks, and it's between myself and Graham Wilson. And according to NFL, the 30th pick is going to reside with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I wondered where we were going to go with this one.
Do we want to flip a coin, or do we want to keep Graham picking for the NFC East teams? If anyone wants to make a comment.
Yeah, guys, get your votes in. Should we pretend that the Kansas City Chiefs are number 31?
Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's see who's still with us and watching. So the pick at 30, who's going to pick at 30 and who's going to pick at 31? So effectively, we're asking us who you think is going to win the Super Bowl this weekend.
I think I'm picking for the Eagles.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So, as I say, we're almost at 2 hours.
So, Labasti has just said he's now officially unsubscribed.
It's been a pleasure, Labarski. We've enjoyed your contributions to the show wildly.
Get this man a freaking medal, honestly.
Joe, I don't believe Joe. I can't believe you're actually doing it to me. Joe is saying he's still here, and yes, Kansas City are winning the Super Bowl. Joe, you're not going to make me pick for them, are you?
Yeah.
You're not honestly going to make me pick for that team. Oh. Let's get.
Ryan, I think the whole of Cowboys Nation wants you to pick for the Eagles.
Right. So
yes.
Right. So what we'll do, right? So announce who you're going to pick for the Eagles, but we won't pick it on this yet. So therefore, we can actually make it official on the board. So then, when it comes to Kansas City, we'll make that selection. Then right after that, then we'll put the Kansas City one after that, so it's on the board properly.
Yeah. So I can't believe I have to pick for them. Let me see what is there. Do
you want me to scroll down a bit?
Can you scroll down to the punters?
Bear in mind they've already taken Edge.
You've already taken Edge. And Bijan Robinson is gone.
Oh, that's a scary prospect.
Oh,
I've actually I know who I'm going to pick for them.
Well,
I know who I'm going to pick.
All right, so just announce who you're going to pick, but we won't add it to the actual board yet.
So the pick for that team is running back out of Alabama.
Oh, hold on.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Wow. Okay. Jahmyr Gibbs. All right. Okay. So I won't add that to the list yet.
Yeah.
So wait till Graham picks his. All right. So let me bring up the board back up.
So the needs for the Kansas City Chiefs, Graham: offensive tackle, edge, and defensive back.
And according to PFF, it's wide receiver and D-line.
Yeah, I know who I'm going with as well.
Okay.
I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, but with the 31st pick, the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs select Psyche Ika.
Yeah.
Defensive lineman out of Baylor.
Okay. And finally, we'll go back to running back. And just to confirm that again, we are the Philadelphia Eagles are selecting who, Brian?
Jamar Gibbs, running back out of Alabama.
All right. And here we have it, folks. And let's see how it's all planned out. So as you can see here on the screen, folks, let me just scroll that down a little bit so you all can see that. So let's recap. So number 1, Jalen Carter. 2, Bryce Young. 3, Will Anderson Jr. 4, CJ Stroud. 5, Paris Johnson Jr. 6, Tyree Wilson. 7, Will Levis. 8, Miles Murphy. 9, Christian Gonzalez. 10, Lucas Van Ness. 11, Quentin Johnson. 12, Peter Skoloronsky. 13, Bijan Robinson. 14, Safe Flowers. 15, Nolan Smith. 16, Devin Witherspoon. 17, Brian Breesy. 18, Michael Mayer. 19, Anton Harrison. 20, Brian Branch. 21, Osiris Torrance. 22, Jackson Smith and Jibba. 23, Bodrick Jones. 24, Cam Smith. 25, Jordan Addison. 26, Josh Downs. 27, Joey Porter Jr. 28, Trenton Simpson. 29, Anthony Richardson. 30, Saiki Aika. 31, Jamire Gibbs.
So how do we do, folks? What are your thoughts? Lebarsky is shockingly says, great draft, Paul. Great draft, Brian. Graham, angry face.
Honestly, I cannot wait for the day you to actually meet up for a beer. It's just going to be absolute hysterics. I know it's going to be like that. The boss guy. I hope you're actually going to show up when we're there for Thanksgiving game this year, because we definitely would love to kick it back for a couple of beers with you, good sir.
But yeah, I mean, look, this is all going to change. This is only it's a first mock draft.
It's the first one with the season still, well, the 2022 season is still ongoing officially.
Yeah.
But no free agencies have happened, no trade, nothing's happened yet. So
yeah,
we're just going based on what we do know as of this moment. So
yeah. Guys,
I'm just gonna step in here and defend myself a little bit. So I'm gonna take you back to 2021, right? The Cowboys are sitting there at 12, desperate for cornerback help, absolutely pining for cornerback help. Is it going to be Horn? Is it going to be Surtain? Is it going to be Horn? Is it going to be Surtain? Who did we end up with?
Parsons.
Second round, who did we end up with?
And
Diggs.
Don't forget.
Calm down. No, it was Kelvin Joseph.
What was
it?
Yeah. Don't forget, we also got an extra pick for dropping down. Which turned into Chauncey Goldston.
Yeah, that's fair.
All I'm saying is it'll be all right on the night.
Yeah. No, but I'm very happy with my choice. I know some people out there might kind of disagree, but we'll see what social media will have to say when this will be posted on our social media. So be very interesting to see what people's thoughts are. But is it a reach? Who knows?
Yeah. So Lebarsky is saying, if it helps, I was jumping out of my seat when the Panthers took Horn. I only wanted Surtain. I'm in agreement with you. Patrick Surtain was who I was looking at,
and we ended up with Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
at 12.
To be honest, I actually wanted linebacker more than I did cornerback. To be perfectly honest, that year, I did say that.
Yeah, but you have to remember this was before Trayvon had his 11 interception season, so we really weren't sure what we had at all at cornerback.
That's very true. All right, and we're back.
So we're back. You can see all of our pretty faces again for everyone who is tuned in. We are going to do the wrap up, so I'm going to throw it over. Paul, if you want to give a shout out to our wonderful friends of the show.
Yes, guys, please check out our sponsors at cowboysexperience.com, where you can get meet and greets, stadium tours, game tickets, and ultimate tailgating experiences, and much, much more. Be sure to go to their website and check out all the upcoming fixtures for the 2023 season once the schedule gets released. And if you do go to a game, be sure to use the code UK Cowboys, because, guys, you will get a free care package which includes lots of little goodies and possibly some chocolate pudding.
There we go. As Mr. Jones would say, don't be a clown, get free stuff.
Simple as that.
Graham, I'm not going to be mean to you after all your meanness throughout the show, and I'm not going to ask you to do this. Or should we? No, we won't do that to you, Graham. We won't do that to you. Do you want to give a shout out to our fellow creators?
So in the run up to the draft, make sure you tune into some of our friends of the show. Big Game James and Jay Tuck are always present on Twitter. You've got Skywalker Steel. These guys will be hugely busy heading up to the draft. You've obviously got talking with, hanging with the boys, talking Cowboys, SB Nation, KT Funhouse. Yeah, a lot of great content out there, and make sure you tune into the World's Team podcast.
Yeah.
When does that go out, Paul?
Every Saturday.
Yeah, and Graham, it's okay. Lebarski still loves you.
That's good.
After a few Jack and Coach, she used to be hugging out. Oh, I love you, man.
Yeah.
I love you.
I'll be on the Jaeger train. So, Paul, I'll give you the final shout out of the evening. As I say, I wouldn't be that mean to Graham that I'd ask him to do this.
Yes, guys. So as I kind of mentioned before, us here at UK Cowboys Fans, we are going to Dallas in 2023 as a group. We would like to invite everyone as part of the group to come over along with us. As part of our sponsors, Cowboys Experience, they've put together a brilliant travel package. More details will be available once the schedule gets released, and so that will include your game tickets, the stadium tours to the stadium, meet and greets, and much, much more. When I say it's going to be a really good package, you do not want to miss it. So please be sure to contact with us or contact Cowboys Experience for more further information.
Yeah. And as we say, thanks to everyone who has commented throughout the show, who's given us their thoughts. We had Joe saying, great show. It's just after midnight in Italy. So, we know people are tuning in from all over the place. As we say, Joe's in Italy.
2-hour show tonight.
Yeah. But it was worth it, Graham.
It's worth it. And also, just to Joe, buonasera. Arrivederci, sir.
So, just before we do get out of here, I know myself and Mike were talking about starting up Project Prospect next Tuesday. Both of us made the mistake of not realizing next Tuesday is actually Valentine's Day. So everybody should be otherwise tied up, and Mike has a date with his lovely wife, Reen. I'd love to say I have a lovely date with my wife, but she's fecking off for a week with the girls. So I'm on my Todd for next Tuesday, but myself and Mike might change that show to Wednesday. So stay tuned. We'll let you know on social media what the plan is for the show that we would normally do on Tuesday. And for sure, the guys will be back here next Thursday, 9:00 here in the UK and Ireland, 4:00 on the East Coast, 3:00 Texas time, 1:00 on the Pacific Coast, and 10:00 in Central Europe. But guys, it has been a pleasure. I'll give you the final word.
Well, guys, it's been fun tonight. Pleasure as always with Brian and Graham. Have a good weekend, guys, and hopefully it'll be a Kansas Chiefs Super Bowl featuring and not the Dirty Birds. So, yeah, Dallas forever, Philly for never.
Good night, folks.